There's the incredible little bay standing on a boombox. Hey, cool cat. Welcome to another lesson of mental health music lessons with Imanni. We're going to be talking about how to hold a violin bow and how to play the violin with a bow for this lesson. So, let's get started. Now, since we talked about how to get in tune with your A string and your D string, and we also learned how to tighten your bow and rosin your bow, now let's talk about holding your bow so that you can play it on the violin. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. It takes a while to get this strange little fingering, this strange little handling down, and I want to make sure that you enjoy your instrument. So, if you're just starting, I highly recommend this, okay? I'm going to actually show you something that many teachers will probably not show you, but I want you to be able to play even if you're having difficulty. I want you to take the bow, and I want you to make a fist around it, like this, though. I want you to make sure that the knuckles on your hand are lining up with this wooden part here, and then I want you to grab it. Make a little fist, right? I want you to take that fist. I want you to hold your violin, and in order to hold this violin, you're going to take your left hand, and you're just going to, now there's a specific type of way to hold this too, but we're just going to make a little V here. I'm going to put that V right over there, and after that, we're just going to put our fingers down so that we can pick it up, right? Making sure that there's that little V part separating your thumb to one side and the rest of your fingers to the other is very important. So we have our bow hand and we have our violin hand. Now we're going to take this, make sure that both of these hands are loose also, that's very important. Make sure your body's loose too. And we're going to take this and we're actually going to, I like to put my hand all the way back so that I can have more, we call it leverage, which simply means being able to move very easily, so, or do anything very easily. That's the word, leverage. So we're going to take this and we're actually going to twist our wrist where the back of our hand is going to be facing out to whoever we're looking at. So let's say I'm looking at the camera and I'll be like, hey, here's my wrist, and naturally my violin is going to go like this with me. Now I have to lift it, so I'm going to do that and lift it up. And now since it's like this, I'm actually going to bend my arm in order to move the violin towards my neck so that I can rest this violin right over here. The violin also has this attached to the back of it. Not all violins do. If you don't, many people put a little cloth or towel there. You can also play without one. If you do play without one, let's say you're in a situation where you don't have one with you, then simply apply pressure by making this bend in your elbow a little bit more, and sometimes I actually move my head down a little bit in order to support the violin there. However, I would not suggest this long term. I'd only suggest that if you're in a situation where you're unable to have one of these with you. When putting one of these on, you're going to use these two little pieces on the sides of this shoulder rest, and you're going to put them on both sides. You're going to have the bigger side on the part near the chin rest, right? This is called the chin rest on the violin. And you're going to put that almost right behind it. You'll notice that when you try to put this on, that it's naturally going to fit in a certain way, and if it feels strange on your shoulder, you can always push with one finger or two finger or multiple fingers. Push this left and right to adjust it. You can also adjust it via these knobs on there. So you can take it off, you can turn these to adjust the height, like this, and you can also turn these knobs out to adjust its positioning inside. We'll talk in more detail about that later. But this lesson is all about how to use a bow. So let's get to doing the bow thing. Okay, so Bay is here. Hi, Bay. Hey, babe. Babe. Okay, here we go. So now since we have our bow hand and we have our violin hand, simply extend our hand out as if we're giving like a big like fist palm to someone, like woo. You have your fist out, and now you're going to. Bae thinks every time I do the fist out, she thinks that I want to give her a bump. We have this out, and then we're actually going to move our fist back. We're going to kind of like crank it as if you're riding a motorcycle. Crank it back a little bit, right? And now since we're cranked back, you might feel like, oh, this is a very interesting stretch we got going on here. So we're going to take that crank, and then we are going to bend our elbow. So in the same way that we had our position before and then we put the elbow into it, now we're going to get that elbow in and you're going to bend it out. As you bend it out, you'll notice that, oh, this doesn't feel as much as a stretch anymore. You can kind of loosen things up, not crank back as much. And then you may notice that you're actually putting the bow on the violin by accident. So let's say we did that, we move it back. When you see we move it back, even when we do this fist palm out, naturally the bow is going to start turning. So you're going to have your elbow stop going in when the bow is now parallel with, well, perpendicular technically. So this is a perpendicular angle, which means that the strings are going that way and the bow is going up. Just like if you are at a cross section when you're driving or when you're driving to your grocery store. So you want to have that perpendicular angle going on here. And then after that, now since we actually have them aligned, we can play. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your bow hand and you're going to simply take your elbow and you're going to extend it out. Now, you may have a situation where it goes out like that. That's okay while we're learning. And then when you want the bow to go up, you're simply going to move your arm up as if you're making a little muscle. Like that. Now, there are many reasons why the bow is going forward and backwards. The main reason is because of how our hand is placed on the bow. The other reason is because our shoulder has a little bit of influence into how we're playing too. When I'm bringing my bow up, I am also bringing my elbow up with it. When I'm bringing my bow down, I'm also bringing my elbow down. The violin is a very strange instrument because even though it's simply made up of straight strings and a straight bow, our body is ironically making a arc shape with the violin. Okay, awesome. This was your first lesson on how to play with a bow. At the next lesson, we'll be talking about having the right hand position with the bow so that you can really create a beautiful sound. But it's always important to be able to play your instrument so that you can find peace and joy and happiness by playing music, because it's so much fun to pick up a violin and simply play a tune. It expands your ability to show music, to create music. Finding new ways to create music also allows you to find new things out about yourself. So, as a little assignment, I encourage you to play the violin, use your bow, there's Bay, and I want you to try making out some notes. Just play some open strings, which means that you have no fingers down on the fingerboard, and play some notes. Try to make the strings sound beautiful as you can. It's okay if it sounds a little bit scratchy right now because we're still learning and we're still adding features to how we play the instrument so that it can sound beautiful. Okay, y'all, I hope you have a mentally healthy rest of your day. Thank you, Cool Cat, for checking this one out, and I'll see you at the next lesson.